you have a thought about something that you want to do, or something you need to go get, or something you want to say, and then you go into a different room and you forget what you were going in that room to get, or you forget the thing that you were going to say, or you forget the thing that you were going to do. Why does that happen? What's actually like going on? Okay, so this can be explained in infinite ways from infinite perspectives based on infinite potentials of knowledge, facts known, and personal insight from experience. But the body-mind has two jobs: navigation and regulation. Hi, kitty. The body-mind has two jobs: navigation and regulation. Navigation are those thoughts, the thought patterns, the thought forms, the feelings, the action patterns, the movement patterns. The regulation is all the different brain-body structures that allow for that to flow into reality. And so brainwave regulation allows thoughts to be used without being too much, right? If there's low energy brainwave state, you might not be able to actually consciously get to these thought forms and consciously, intentionally use them. But brainwave dysregulation that's moving too fast could cause way too many thoughts and you can't have clarity. So brainwave regulation allows for these navigations to be utilized effectively, just as one of infinite examples, okay? Another one is frontal lobe and prefrontal cortex engagement and the activation of the mohawk of self-awareness, or the brain regions that provide this capacity to be conscious and intentional and mindful, and be using this with conscious, intentional mindfulness and not just it being automatic and completely on its own. And so if you have a thought of, okay, I'm going to go walk into that room and get that thing, or say that thing, or do that thing, but then you move to that other room and you can't remember what it was that you were going to do or say or get, what could potentially have happened is that you were in an environment in that other room before moving to that room, and the stimulus of that room was activating a certain style of navigation and regulation in the body-mind. And then as you moved rooms, the shift of stimulus actually shifted the navigation and regulation activations in the body-mind. And so the body-mind has two jobs: navigation, regulation, and they're constantly adjusting based on what's happening inside and what's happening outside. And so if you shift to this other room, then seeing the stimulus of this different space is bringing in this different stimulus, and then it's activating different styles of navigation. And depending on the particulars of how that navigation is being activated, it could, A, be activating this region of navigational data that just doesn't have any related connection with the navigation that you were accessing. You're like, I'm trying to go in this room and get this thing, or say this thing, or do this thing. And so there's these navigational potentials, but then the stimulus of where you shifted into activated navigation that just didn't have the ability to connect with that style of navigation from a few moments ago. Another potential is that the shift of stimulus might have actually activated disintegrated navigation, which caused a prefrontal cortex or frontal lobe reset. And this is something that is very common in experiences of healing from trauma or stress or dissociation or mind-body disconnect, etc. But it can also happen really subtly in everyday moments where there's just this like microscopic glitch. And the brain's like, okay, I'm being conscious and mindful and intentional, but then I'm moving through time and space and I'm not really being conscious and mindful and intentional for like 30 seconds to a minute, and everything just kind of resets. And then those short-term thought forms that were there are then no longer accessible, and you reach that next room and you're like, oh my God, what did I come in here for? But it has to do, everything it seems, has to do with the way the body-mind is navigating and regulating existence. And so navigation helps with thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, action patterns, instinctive responses, habits, behaviors, decision-making tendencies, and even the ability to feel sensations of familiarity. Like your ability to recognize a song that you hear, your ability to recognize and feel familiar with certain tastes of different food, your ability to recognize and feel familiar with your face in a mirror, or the sound of your own voice, or different spaces that you are, that you're in, places you stay, or places you live, or places of friends and family, or places in the neighborhood, or places in local towns or cities, or that one place that you visited every year for the last 10 years. The ability to feel sensations of familiarity is another type of navigation. And then the flip side of the body-mind job, two sides of the same coin sort of deal, because they affect each other. The way the body-mind is navigating is also affecting the way the body-mind is regulating. And the way the body-mind is regulating is also affecting the way the body-mind is navigating. And the one thing that combines them is attachment systems and the unconscious memories that carry these deeply embedded patterns of navigation and regulation in the body-mind in correlation with how do I fulfill attachment needs, or how do I feel about the attachment needs being fulfilled? How do I think and feel and move with attachment needs being fulfilled? Or how do I try to get these attachment needs fulfilled? Or how do I try to survive these attachment needs not being fulfilled? And that really is kind of the foundation of the organization of all these unconscious memories from our entire life that are affecting the navigation and regulation of our own existence from the inside out. And so regulation, flip side, two sides of the same coin. Okay, so navigation, thoughts, feelings, action patterns, emotions, sensations, abilities to feel sensations of familiarity, etc. Regulation, brain hemispheric balance and connectivity. Yeah, that's actually very interesting. Brain hemispheric balance and connectivity. Frontal lobe engagement, the ability to connect with the prefrontal cortex and the mohawk of self-awareness, referencing Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's work. The vocal vibration, regulation of your voice. When there's dysregulation, then you might not be able to speak, or you might only be able to speak in higher pitched tones or only lower pitched tones, but you can't actually reach both of them. Or you might only be able to speak really loud and you can't actually consciously control the volume of your voice. So the pitch and the volume of your voice actually have to do with the regulation of the body-mind. And then cranial nerve functionality and hormones, neurotransmitters, the endocrine system, all the different nervous systems, the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, autonomic and somatic enteric nervous systems,